Hello and welcome everyone to Ars Electronica Home Delivery. My name is Sandra and I welcome you today from Deep Space 8K again to take you on a very special tour through a fascinating ancient city, which you can already see behind me. We're going to have a look at the ancient Mayan city of Tikal. And with the help of the deep space technology we have here, we can actually do this without any hustle. We don't have to go to Central America and walk around in the hot Amazonian forest. We can actually just relax at home in 3D even and enjoy a walk through this magnificent city. To make this possible, our team even created special camera lenses so that you can enjoy this virtual tour in 3D at home. I have to put on my 3D glasses now. And I've already started the project, but now I'm gonna direct us through it with the help of this Xbox controller I'm holding. So it's not just single pictures I want to show you, but it's also not a normal video. It's basically different viewpoints throughout the city where we can teleport to and where we can look at certain points of interest. Yeah, just maybe some background information on the city and on the technology itself. The technology that was used to document the city is called LiDAR. So light and detection ranging photography, some say. It's a laser photography system, so you cannot think of a conventional camera you're holding. It's more like a circular mounted device, and it's projecting lasers in every direction. For the purpose of Tikal, this laser was put under a plane. It was stuck on the plane, and it just fired 1,000 different laser bolts in a very rapid succession and took pictures. But not in the conventional sense. Whenever the laser hit something, a point was made to create point clouds, and thousands of point clouds were combined then into one to create an image of this city. This was done by the Society Paconam. It's a foundation for protecting the Mayan cultural and natural heritage. And they started doing this in 2018. And their plan is to do it over like 3 years to create the largest collection of LiDAR data samples ever created so far, at least. It's a relatively new technology. They want to do the whole of Guatemala up to the Gulf of Mexico. So it would be the largest collection of data ever. The LiDAR technology is what Hubble was for space exploration 20 years ago, and we will need hundreds of years to analyze all digging, so to say. Because with normal digging, we would not have been able to discover the city as a whole, and we're still not close. We don't know the extent of how large the city actually was. And now I want to go a little bit into the history of it. And for that, I'm going to switch our perspective with the controller to the Acropolis of this amazing city. At its height, there were up to 50,000 people living inside the city. And if you take into consideration the thousands of buildings that have been found using this LiDAR technology, there's an estimate of being like 1 million people living in this area at the time between the 2nd century AD and the 8th century AD, where the height of this empire was estimated. Construction actually began earlier than that, in the first millennium BC, but it was of course nowhere near this magnificent settlement we see today. And lots of parts, as you see, are surrounded by forests, are covered by vegetation, and different flora and fauna live there, of course. So it's very difficult to get the extent of how large this city actually was up until LiDAR came along, that is. Yeah, and just to show you different points of interest in the city, I'm going to switch the perspective again to one of the most magnificent and well-known sites of the city, the Sun Temple, the Solar Temple, which is also the highest building in the city. And it has, of course, also cultural reference. There were rituals held there. There was a specific design involved. So the architects of the ancient Mayan, they really knew what they were doing, because when there were 2 special days in the Mayan calendar, the sun would shine right through the top part of the temple at the sunset and sunrise. Which is quite impressive, I would say, because before we discovered the city, we were of the opinion that the Mayan were not able to build such large settlements, such large cultural sites, That was just believed that the Aztecs did it several hundred years later. But now that we know Tikal was so massive, we have to rediscover history, so to say, a little bit. Yeah, and let's look at another interesting perspective here. I'm going to transport us back here into this field between the two temples. The one we started as was the Moon Temple, and between the Moon and the Sun Temple there's this field, which makes us think of like a game field, and that's what it actually was. It's a so-called ball court. The Mayans were famous for playing a ball game, but we would not like to play it today most likely, because this ball game could end deadly. It's a ritual game used by playing with a rubber ball. And the purpose of it, we're not really sure how they played it, but we know that the losers of the ball game were often sacrificed in the temples as a ritual offering. So you really want to have your A game ready when you play in this court. Right, so another perspective I want to show you here is this one. It doesn't look like much now, but this was actually next to the temples, the most magnificent building in this city. It was the royal palace. Of course, Tikal had a royal family. They had rulers, many different rulers throughout the history of this city. And we even know quite a lot of them because in the ruins, there were a lot of drawings found and also carvings with the names of the rulers of the city. So you can imagine this palace was more beautifully decorated than any other building, like I said, except maybe the temples. And there was a lot of going on in terms of, you say, like different royal duties, like governing the city, governing the surrounding agricultural farms, because it was not just the city center as we see here. When we move out a little bit, we have agricultural settlements that have been found, and also water roads, and even elevated roads that were protected from heavy rainfall. So quite advanced for this civilization, you could say. And one last perspective here, I want to show you between the two temples. It's a magnificent sight, but in times of Corona, we cannot travel so easily to Central America. So if you want to experience this impressive sight and also the technology to preserve those sites, even if something happens in real life to them, I can just say LiDAR has been revolutionary. We have the Great Pyramid as well in this technology. Next week I'm going to talk about Pompeii. That's been done with the same kind of methods, you could say. And also we have, for example, Mace Howe. That was 2 weeks ago. We talked about that in burial site in Scotland. So it's been used for all different kinds of archaeological research and archaeological preservation. Yeah, and even for us, it's as a benefit, you could say. We can show you this in deep space in 3D, even with wall and floor projections. You can walk around, take a walk in this ancient city and experience it risk-free, and also get a glimpse in our ancient past, you could say, and rediscover something that's been lost for centuries, but thankfully modern technology has given us access to it again. That's it for me for today. Like I said, tune in for next week for Pompeii and other segments as well. Thank you very much and have a great day.